And we have our president and CEO of our Education Foundation, I think, that wants to address us tonight. Mr. Gavrilos.
Good evening, Superintendent Dr. Fenoy, Mr. Chairman, members of the school board. Two areas that I want to touch tonight in my time. A couple years back, I was honored to be selected to attend Harvard Business School for a week with nonprofit leaders from all over the world with the strategic perspectives in nonprofit management. And they taught us the distinction between outcomes and impact. Charities tend to count outcomes because it's easier, and I'm focusing area one tonight on Red Apple Supply Store. It's easy and convenient for us to simply quantify that already in this academic year we've passed out $200,000 worth of school supplies. I've shared this with you in past meetings. But at the Ed Foundation, as Ms. Brill, who is your designated representative on our board, knows, we're starting to push more in the area of impact. Outcome is what we did in the immediate reaction. Impact is the long-term ramifications. We've done a survey of the teachers who are shopping at Red Apple Supply. Not unsurprisingly, 97.62% of the teachers who shop said it helped them do their job better, to which we go, duh, of course. But here are two interesting numbers that I think we need to really digest when we look at the impact of the Red Apple Supply and why we must increase this program as we move forward into the future. 67.62% of the respondents said they had less bad behavior in their classes just because their students had the school supplies they needed in order to learn. The second number is even more interesting. 89.5% of the teachers who responded said that shopping at Red Apple Supply gave them greater confidence and it gave them a greater sense of appreciation for their chosen profession of educating. I'm not an educator, as most of you know. I sit in these meetings and I hear these staggering numbers of teachers who are leaving the profession within the first 5 years, and most of it is because they're just not satisfied. It's a nationwide crisis. We believe that this is one of the ways, one of the impacts that the Education Foundation, as Mr. Barbieri just said, your Education Foundation is having by helping teachers feel better about what they do. And so I want you as a school board to know, we at the Ed Foundation are focused not simply on the outcomes. I'm not going to come up month after month and throw more numbers at you. We're talking about long-range impact. How can we help you help our teachers feel better? How can we give them a greater sense of confidence and a greater sense of accomplishment in what they do? That's strategically where we're going. These teachers are unsung heroes in this community. And I just want to get to the second point and very briefly highlight tomorrow night. If we're going to make an impact and really change Palm Beach County by using education, it's going to be our teachers and our unbelievable principals. I have to say to you as a school board, to the gathered here and those listening at home, our public school principals are absolute heroes and heroines today. They are budget experts, they're management experts, they're parents, they're nutrition experts, they're security experts. We ask them to be pastors, priests, and rabbis, counselors, and all along the way we want them to educate our children too and teach them to read, write, and do arithmetic. We at the Education Foundation are absolutely honored to partner with the school district to sponsor and host tomorrow night, as Comcast is our host sponsor, for the Principal of the Year ceremony. There are 4 unbelievably worthy nominees who will be feted. One winner will be selected, and even I don't know who that person is yet. But I will tell you, as we honor the 4 regional nominees for the Principal of the Year at Manatee Lagoon, starting at 6 o'clock, it is open to the public. We're honoring all of our amazing principals in the Palm Beach County School District. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're free tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, join us at Manatee Lagoon. Put our hands together to recognize these principals who are going to drive the impact of the Education Foundation forward. Mr. Chairman, members of the school board, we are your Education Foundation, serving the needs of the schools, teachers, and students in the finest school district in the state of Florida. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gavrilos, we just want to thank you for all that the Ed Foundation does for the children, all the students, and the teachers and principals. Thank you so much. You've made a huge difference since you came on, and we appreciate everything you've done.
You're very kind. Thank you, sir.
Next speaker is Charmaine Postal. And Jen Martinez is next, and Jacqueline Calloway is third.
Good afternoon. Happy New Year, Chairman, board members, Superintendent, and everyone else in your respective places. Charmaine Postal, Palm Beach County Council of PTA, PTSA. I'm not going to spend all of my 4 minutes because my colleague here is going to go more in depth on what's going on in Florida PTA. I just would like to first thank Mr. Barbieri and everything that you're doing down south with the Verde Elementary School, visiting Don Estridge, making them feel assured. The parents have personally called me and said, can you please thank him? So I want to send that back to you, that they are, they just wanted to say thank you. And to all of you for what you have been doing each day and each month here at Palm Beach County. I just wanted to come up to invite you to a few things and just to put on your calendars. April 29th, we are inviting you to our general meeting. It is a third general meeting. It is for all of Palm Beach County, all of our PTAs in Palm Beach County, including a now workshop. Our members have been asking for our school board members to come out and just show their face a little more often all throughout the county. So we just would love to open that up not only to our South school board member, but to everyone here, as well as our superintendent on April 29th at our third general meeting, as well as May 10th is our awards celebration. That is going to be in Boynton Beach, recognizing our PTAs, and not only our PTAs, but a school board member and a couple of other teachers. So we do invite you to that on May 10th. And May 11th is a mental health symposium, also in Boynton Beach at the Boynton Beach High School. We will have more information to you about that. And last but not least, we do want to share that Palm Beach County PTA have scholarships for our students and parents. We have 2 scholarships that will be going out, at minimum 2 scholarships, one for a parent, one for a student senior in high school. We will also send that information out to the board office so that you can get that out to your schools about the scholarships that we have coming up. So please be attentive to the emails that will be coming out, and thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Martinez.
Good evening, Chairman Barbieri, school board members, Superintendent Dr. Fenoy, delegates, and meeting attendees. I am Jen Martinez, your Florida PTA President-elect. I bring you greetings from Florida PTA. For more than 100 years, the National Parent-Teacher Association, PTA, has worked towards bettering the lives of every child in education, health, and safety. Founded in 1897, PTA is a powerful voice for all children, a relevant resource for families and communities, and a strong advocate for public education. Today's PTA is a network of millions of families, students, teachers, administrators, business, and community leaders devoted to the educational success of the children and the promotion of family engagement in schools. As the largest volunteer child advocacy organization in the nation, PTA is the conscience of the country for children and youth issues. Through advocacy, as well as family and community education, PTA has established programs and called for legislation that improves the lives for children. Florida PTA is the largest statewide volunteer association working exclusively on behalf of children and youth. Founded in 1923 as a branch of the 4 million member National PTA, Florida PTA is made up of approximately 1,450 local units with more than 300,000 members seeking to unite home, school, and community for all children. Florida PTA volunteers are proud to continue the long history of advocating for all children. Florida PTA does not employ a lobbyist. However, our volunteer advocacy team is in Tallahassee for all committee and session weeks. We walk the halls with passion dedicated to our mission. We will host our annual legislative training in Tallahassee, March 24th through March 26th. The platform for 2018-2020 is funding early childhood education, juvenile justice, well-being of children, supporting student success, school safety, and gun violence prevention. I have brought with me tonight a folder for each of you with our legislative priorities, resolution, and key position statements. And reviewing your legislative platform, I see once again one of our many of our priorities are aligned. We must remain dedicated and focused as we watch all the changes that are happening in Tallahassee and continue to do the best we can for not only our students, but our educators and administrators here in Palm Beach County. Some events you might see in your PTA, PTSA schools are Founders Day celebrations coming up and Reflection Celebration. Reflections is a celebration of the arts and has been going on for over 50 years. It helps develop ideas, develop artistic literacy, and increase confidence and a love of learning. I look forward to continuing our strong relationship as we've been working together for over 20 years. As we work to benefit all children of Palm Beach County is my home, but my reach as an advocate is for all children and spans the entire state of Florida. I am pleased to announce that I will be installed as your state leader July 19th, 2020.
Congratulations. After Ms. Calloway, we have Claudia Bartow and Chuck Ridley.
Good afternoon, Mr. Barbieri and other school board members and Superintendent Fenoy. My name is Jacqueline Calloway, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Coalition for Black Student Achievement. The Coalition is a community-based organization dedicated to ensuring that African American students and other students of African heritage, such as our Haitian students, achieve at the highest levels academically in an educational environment that values their culture, history, languages, and traditions. Our goal is to reverse the unacceptable underachievement by students of African heritage. We know that this underachievement is not due to a lack of ability on the part of the children, but a variety of factors which include inequities in the quality and effectiveness of the instruction they receive, inequitable opportunities as a result of a lack of consistency in the district and at school practices, and difficulties that many schools have when it comes to fostering caring, respectful relationships with students of African heritage and their parents. That being said, I want to present to you a list of actions that the Coalition would like to see happen in this district. They are as follows. First, ensure that authentic, efficacious, and verifiable infusion of the African and African American diaspora is being implemented at all schools as mandated by Florida statute. Next, identify, examine, and when necessary, correct those school-based practices which impede students' access to instruction and their opportunity to learn. The key issue here is when students are inappropriately or excessively out of their classrooms for trivial reasons, minor disciplinary issues, or tasks that could reasonably be carried out by an adult. Next, collaborate with community organizations and persons to develop a comprehensive professional development program for all school-based staff that is credible to the African American community and sensitive to the needs of students. This authentic exposure of the school-based staff to the communities in which their students live could help establish a foundation for building positive relationships, fostering respect, and decreasing the implicit racism that imperils the emotional health of the students they serve. Finally, collaborate with district and regional staff, school-based administrators, the Classroom Teachers Association, and others as deemed appropriate to assign the most highly effective teachers and administrators to the high-need schools that most black students attend. Provide monetary compensation for those outstanding educators and administrators commensurate with the challenging work that they do. Dr. Fenoy, the Coalition looks forward to meeting with you in the near future to elaborate on the issues that I have presented this evening. We look forward to working together to achieve excellence in education for all students of African heritage. Thank you.
Thank you. Claudia?
Hello. My name is Sarah O'Donnell, and I experienced going to J.A. Biztown last year as a 5th grader at South Olive. Now I am a 6th grader in Bach Middle School. Before we get started, let's have the president of Junior Achievement introduce herself.
Good evening, school board members, superintendent. Claudia Kirk-Bartow, the president of Junior Achievement, and thanks for allowing our MC from last year's gala to help me this evening.
Thank you, Claudia. Dr. Donald Fenoy II has a long history of championing junior achievement and the Junior Achievement Mission, going back to his days at Buccaneer High School, Banneker High School, and the Fulton County School District. While with the Fulton County School District, Dr. Fenoy was one of the driving forces in the successes of JA Academy, which is expanding next school year to Lake Worth High School under the newly rebranded name 3DE Junior Achievement.
So Dr. Fenoy will be honored at JA's Hall of Fame Gala coming up as our school district champion on Saturday, February 9th at the Kravis Center's Cohen Pavilion, along with 6 other honorees.
Star Student of the Year, Jensen Beach High School National Honor Society.
Volunteer of the Year, Omar Soto from Rybovich Subert Yacht Marina.
Corporate Partner of the Year, Joe Russo.
Joe Russo.
1909, Palm Beach Tech.
Teacher of the Year, it's top secret. She's going to be surprised on Friday. We can't tell you that one.
Philanthropic of the Year, the Stiles Nicholson Foundation.
And for lifetime achievement, as an alum for over 30 years at the Palm Beach County School District, Dr. Marianne DuPont. She spent, as you know, her lifetime committed to the children in our community. And her motto has been, you have to have vision in your heart and heart in your vision. So, and she served on the board of Junior Achievement for over 27 years. Yes, we have term limits, but obviously she's awesome, and she keeps getting voted back. So will you join us on the 9th to help us celebrate these champions? We have invitations.
Can I have a photo with Dr. Fenoy?
Thank you. Mr. Ridley.
Good evening, Board and Superintendent. My name is Chuck Ridley, and I have the privilege of being the chair of Unifier Palm Beach County. Unifier exists for one simple purpose: to build power for Black people and Black communities. One of the biggest complaints by the Black community over the years is your lack of fairness in equity in contracting in your public contracts. Many of the vendors that we've talked to have had either grown frustrated or just outright had given up. In 2016, you launched an effort to pass a penny sales tax. And at that time, Unifier made it clear to you that we were willing to support your referendum, but you must be willing to do the following. One is to change your business culture, build your capacity to connect with Black businesses, to also create a pathway in which Black businesses could be successful in retaining contracts and successful in retaining them. You gave us your word that you would do that. Today, I'm happy to say that I actually see improvements in that department. Now, I don't often come and tell you that you got something right, but you have. And I'm going to say her name wrong, so I'm going to try to get it right. But there's someone work for you named Miss Dickie Sykes. Did I get it right? Wow. Miss Sykes, we see you. The work you're doing is commendable, particularly the work you're doing with the SBE. But Ms. Sachs, we believe that you would admit and acknowledge that there is still room for a lot of improvement, and that improvement needs to come from this board. You set the North Star for equity. If you set that North Star, your superintendent and his staff will follow, and you will see the community respond. You have a responsibility to make sure that there's an economic ecosystem that not only works for those with many blessings, but those with few. And it also, I'm here to remind you that Attorney Franklin Lee asked you to start evaluating your NWBE program after a year. My calendar tells me a year has come back, and to the best of my knowledge, you haven't picked that up. But while I'm here, I also want to acknowledge another one of your employees, and I ain't gonna look at them because they really get embarrassed and they ask me, don't do this. But since I got a minute left, I'm going to do it. You have a deputy superintendent named Keith Oswald that has been a tremendous asset to our community. The black community came out and spoke in honor of this gentleman when he was a principal. He headed up a different department that had something to do with students, and I can't remember the name, but we came out and spoke for him then. And then when he was the chief academic officer, we came out and spoke to tell you what a fine job he was doing at that point. And now that he's the deputy superintendent, we're here again to tell you this is a fine young man. Why do we call him fine? Because he's a public servant. He was a public servant as a principal. Everywhere he goes, he's a public servant. Selfless. He puts community first. Not just the communities that you're used to hearing from, but the ones that you seldom get. And so I will never, ever not come out and tell you when you have good staffs, and you got two. And so in the words of the revolutionaries, boom shakalaka.
Thank you. Mr. Oswald, why are you turning red, Mr. Oswald? Last but not least is the CTA president, Justin Katz.
Thank you all very much. My name is Justin Katz. I am the president of the Palm Beach County Classroom Teachers Association. I wanted to wish everybody a Happy New Year, obviously, and briefly cover a couple of issues that I think are extremely important. I've spoken to each of you in some degree about the ongoing concerns at the conservatory, and I've requested, and I believe it's in the works, to have a public workshop where all parties are afforded the opportunity to come here, lay the facts out, and ultimately for you guys to decide which direction you go. I don't have a personal opinion about what they're trying to accomplish at this point. Obviously, I'm not a fan of any charterization, but that's in the past as far as it's been explained to me. But there are ongoing concerns from teachers conveyed to me that they feel like they have been stuck in the middle of a dispute between the district and parents. And as you all know, the most controversial thing, at least in my opinion, that you do up here has to do with borders and school assignments for children. That brings out parents because it is extremely personal to them, and that's what this debate's about. And teachers feel they have been caught in the middle of it, and they have conveyed to me that they feel like they're being pressured and used, as kind of puzzle pieces while efforts are being trying to be achieved. So I would ask that you have this public meeting, and whatever the ultimate direction you go in, that's your prerogative. But the teachers, and again, this is a consequence of annual contracts and legislation in Tallahassee, teachers that can be dismissed at the end of the year without cause or explanation are in a perpetual state of fear that if they show any dissent, they could be shown the door. So it's a very serious concern, and I hope you address it, not just for the teachers and my concerns, but for the parents as well. They were promised whatever they were promised in the past, and it fell apart real quick this year, and now everybody is, in a state of uncertainty. And I can't imagine if you have children and you're trying to get them the service and the education they need, and you were promised it and it fell apart. it's controversial and it's personal, and I just want to make sure that the employees are not being pitted in one corner or the other because they just want to do their job and teach these kids. So that's that with regard to that topic. We enter negotiations. Next week, we exchange proposals this week. I won't speak to that, but I will say that just moving forward, I think that we passed the referendum, and that was meant in large part with regards to the teacher component to address salary issues in the past. If we don't come up with a plan to deal with the legislature underfunding us and dealing with the issue of not having money for raises, not just for teachers, but for all employees, in-house, a solution here on an annual basis, the referendum money takes care of what happened in the past. I feel like there needs to be a plan to make sure that we don't do that again for the next 5 or 10 years, because there's no doubling the referendum if we repeat our problems from the past. My recommendation is twofold. One, first and foremost, is, and this has been a request in the past, is to earmark a set amount of funds for teacher salaries in the budget, not to budget everything and then at the end of the day say this is what's left for raises. It's, the way that teachers, and I'm sure other employees characterize it, is the scraps. We get the scraps, and if there's not a lot of scraps, then there's no raises or low raises. So I would implore you to put in the budget a line item at a certain level that gives sufficient raises with the resources you have, because Tallahassee's not going to help us. At least that's what we suspect. And second, we go through these negotiations on an annual basis. I'll finish in a second. Every single year we're back at the table on raises. It's been a long time since we've had a multi-year deal with regards to salaries. I know that the fiscal picture from Tallahassee clouds our ability to do that with a degree of confidence, but I really think that it would be beneficial if we came up with a way to strike 2 or 3 year deals so that it wasn't every year money, money, money. People like financial certainty. I think it would avoid a lot of acrimony that crops up on these perpetual negotiations. So those are my recommendations to you all, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Katz. We have one agenda speaker, Clinton Gordon.
Good evening. My name is Clinton Gordon, and I came across this proposed agenda item POL-A3, which is a revision to the policy of school advisory councils. I will get straight to the point. I only have 3 minutes. In regards to the revisions in line 62, my concerns are scratched out that any SAC member may recommend for the appointment of business and community members to serve on the SAC. Why are we removing the words any SAC member may recommend business and community members? Who will control the recommendations? If school districts control the recommendations of business and community members, then they also control the recommendations for school district employees, basically monopolizing new membership, especially if you are removing in line 69 community members will be appointed by the principal, and removing following advice and consent of the SAC. So the following the advice and consent of the SAC will be removed. So the principal will no longer follow the advice and consent of the SAC in that case. Lines 155 through 151s are being removed. All right. 55. That SAC shall be the sole body responsible for final decision making at the school relating to implementation of Florida Statute 100.42. 18 and 100.343 regarding school improvement and accountability. These lines are being removed, giving more control and influence of school improvement plan to the school itself to do with what and how it pleases. Line 243 removes the vote and approval of SIP from a SAC meeting, which takes away the opportunity to discuss and vote in person at a SAC meeting. Also, line 244, the removal of with SAC consent allows the principal to submit the school improvement plan without the consent of SAC. Removal of lines 264 through 276 take away the ability for SAC to select the projects and programs for enhancing school performance, development, and implementation. Also, it allows the principal to override SAC recommendations of use of SIP funds. Being a member of SAC myself, I urge the board to vote no on agenda item POL-A3. In my opinion, this agenda item takes away the community influence of SAC away, and from the community, it takes away the influence of SAC and the influence of the community in SAC. It also encourages the absence of transparency in the school's implementation and preparation of the school improvement plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. I believe you mean POLA1, which is school advisors. You said PA3, but we assume you meant the one that deals with school advisory councils, which is A1.
POL-A3.
Okay, you've got it incorrect. It's A1 for us.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. So we have one item that's already been pulled from the consent agenda. That was FMPF1, and I'd like to go ahead and pull this one that Mr. Gordon just spoke about.